Look at him. He's just dickered. Just dickered, boys. Son of a bitch.
Yo, yo. Class A, and macro. Not connected, not elected to participate. Bouncing down the stems will make your head hurt. Enjoy the takes. Says her whose head burns from
Hey everybody, welcome back to Take a Wide. This is episode 231. I've been thinking about trying to start these differently because, I don't know, is it weird to just jump right into the sponsors and not be personal with you guys? How's your week been? This is, I'm actually recording this the day before I go back home to see my parents. So I'm pretty fucking excited. I only see them like once or twice a year, if that. So it's going to be fucking great. Maybe I should bring my dad. I was actually thinking about doing another one with my dad, but his accent's so thick that I don't think you guys could understand him. But I feel like he has only so much time left, and that's not like a grim thing, but it's just the reality, you know. All our parents only have so much time left, and I'll only have a certain amount of time to talk to him about life. And I did one of these episodes with him before, but it was unprepared and kind of low key, where I could have done it better. So I still maybe I'll do one with him. I guess if you guys are hearing this will come out on the Monday. Let me know if that's really a thing you'd give a shit about. I don't know. Maybe I'll just do it on my own. But anyways, there's my little intro. Let me go into the sponsors for the episode. Many sponsors. I'll just kind of not. I won't rip through these because I want to give these guys the time they deserve. But just listen. They're good people. Everyone who's sponsoring this are honest, loving people who have their own thing happening, and it's super cool. So if you guys can like their Instagram pages as I ring them off, or like the Facebook page, or actually order stuff through them, that'd be great. First one's Heartbeat Hot Sauce. Heartbeat Hot Sauce is a hot sauce company from Thunder Bay. I think they have the 4 kinds now. They have the red habanero, they have a jalapeno, they have like a blueberry one, and then a fucking 4th one that I should know about. You can just go to heartbeathotsauce.com and check it out. They are featured on season 6 of Hot Ones, which is that interview show where Sean Evans, I think his name is, interviews celebrities. Super rad that they're on that. It's fucking crazy. If you use promo code TakerWide5, you get 5% off your cart. Shipping sucks, so go in on it with some friends and save yourself some money. It's fucking... I'll just ring off the thing here. Peppers are fermented. Their peppers are fermented using traditional methods before being cooked with a few simple, high-quality ingredients. There's no water added, there's no thickening agents added, or chemical preservatives of any kind, and it makes their sauce as natural as it gets. It's delicious stuff. So if you guys can, go buy some Heartbeat Hot Sauce. Next is DFA Tattoos. I think most people listening are tattoo enthusiasts or have one tattoo at least. It's rare to not have a tattoo. But if you are one of those people who don't have one, or if you do have a lot, and you're in Montreal, go to 328 St. Catherine Est. It's a collective of driven and skilled artists, and they have a goal of creating the best tattoos. They can do walk-ins. They can do large scale. They believe that every tattoo is important. They're true artists. Really, they are. And they care about their business. I've seen them grow from a smaller shop to now, with employees under them. It's really, really cool. And it's a safe place. It's a comfortable place. They're well-informed, their staff. And they push themselves to do really good stuff. And it's absolutely 100% quality tattoos. So if you are in Montreal, go pop in. You can follow them on Instagram. It's I always try to describe it. TATOUAGE_DFA_tattoos. Kind of a mouthful, but I'm sure you can search it. If not, just go to dfatattoos.com and you can find them there. So go get some tats from quality people. Next is Kevin Rigo of Hefner Toyota. Kevin is an old friend. He is a car salesman out in Kitchener. And I've known Kevin pretty much since from the time I moved to Cambridge. And it's like a brother, he's a family member, and I feel like a family with those guys, and it's really awesome that he's sponsoring this. So if you guys are in the market for a new car, go to Kevin out at 3121 King Street East in Kitchener. Mention the show and you'll get special pricing on new vehicles. Find him on Facebook, just Kevin Rigo of Hefner Toyota. Like it, say hi. It's really rad. It's really rad that he's supporting this. So if you're looking for a car, new or used, go find Rigo out in Kitchener. Next, we have Ironclad Graphics. The t-shirts that I made were printed by Ironclad. The fucking Sabs have done shirts through him. Gerbert. It's in Kingston, and they're a custom screen printing shop who specialize in apparel printing. They can do koozies, tote bags, record label inserts, posters, anything, man. Julian's been doing it for a long, long time. And 1 second. Sorry. Yeah, ironcladgraphics.com. You can check out everything they have there. And yeah, Julian's been doing it for fucking ever. So show them some love. Go order some merch through them. It's competitive pricing, and he ships coast to coast every day. So don't be put off by the fact that he's in Kingston. He knows what he's doing, and he is prepared to compete within the market. So go to ironcladgraphics.com. Check them out. A couple more. Dapper Beard Oil. It's a beard oil company from Ottawa that my friend Andrew runs. They make fantastic beard oil. It's not too intense. They got the 3 types: the gold tusk, the black tusk, number 2, and they got a scent free. It's antibacterial, ethically sourced, 100% natural ingredients, and it's small business. So if you guys are interested in beard oil, I know there's a lot out there, but if you use promo code TAKERWIDE free ship, you'll get free shipping off of your order, which is great. Save some money, go support small business, and just go to dapperbeardoil.com. You can find out all the stuff there. All love to Andrew and Dapper Beard Oil. Wellington Brewery in Guelph provide the beers. They're Canada's oldest independent-owned microbrewery. They take part in countless events and they support charitable causes. 25 cents of each can of Queen of Craft Grisette gets donated to Guelph Wellington Women in Crisis, and they make a damn good beer. So if you're out and about, grab a welly. And lastly, Dave Levitt Photography. Dave Levitt, he took photos for the T-shirts. He's been taking photos of bands and recently just got married, and just a solid guy. I love this guy to death. He supported this from day one, fucking 5 years ago. Actually, I think I just passed the 5-year anniversary. From day one, he helped out, and he's always helped me out, man. Super solid guy. So show him some love. Find him on Instagram, Dave Levitt, or Dave Levitt Photography. Follow him. Say hi. If you need some promos, music videos, websites, he can help you out 100%. So those are all the sponsors, guys. And yeah, for real, just at least like their page or something. Shit. For this episode, I'm talking to Karina Davy. She is a promoter out from Toronto. I know she does shows in Hamilton. And yeah, I'm gonna pick her brain about that angle. And I always I've thrown shows, but I feel like she's doing it on a different level where it's not like once a year. So we're gonna talk about the scene, talk about fucking pricing, talk about merch, talk about a bunch of shit. This is 231 with Karina. Hey.
Hello.
How's it going?
It's going good. How are you?
Good, man. Shit. Right on time. Perfect.
Well, I'm not always punctual, but when I am, I'm very punctual.
No, this works out really good. I'm flying to Thunder Bay tomorrow to visit my parents, so there's still like packing and last minute things to do, so it's fucking 100% that we're on time.
Cool.
Yeah.
Sounds great.
Yeah. So, man, yeah, very cool that you heard the Mad episode, right?
My philosophy in life is, if it's good enough for Matt Black, it's good enough for me.
That's a good philosophy, man. Matt's like a high watermark for good dudeness. I
listened to the entire podcast, by the way.
Cool. Hey, man. Well, I appreciate it, man. Any listener I get is fucking rad. So, dude, yeah, I'm ready, man. Like, I got a bunch of questions, and I want to pick your brain. So, first I can start with, were you born in Russia, or were you born here?
I was born in Russia.
Okay. When did you leave?
I left Russia in 1991.
91. So I don't know if you want to give your age, but you were a little kid at that point, I guess?
I was a little kid. I wasn't a little baby, but Like, I left during, the fall of communism. A lot of people were leaving Russia, and they were either going to Canada, U.S., or Israel. And I'm actually very, very happy that my family chose to come to Canada out of the 3 options.
Yeah. Well, it's I'm actually interested to talk about that, because I have same sort of thing. Like, it wasn't as because of any sort of strife, but I'm from Costa Rica, and we came up when I was 2, so we immigrated here as well, and I'm super happy, that we ended up in Canada. Just, there's been a lot of benefit of coming here for sure.
Absolutely. I still have a lot of family in Russia. All my immediate here, but I have a lot of family in Russia. I mean, they're happy that, actually, it's really interesting. Of course, the media paints a different picture of sometimes what's what goes on in countries.
Mm-hmm.
My family that is in Russia, they're happy. It's home to them. But I grew up here. I really see Canada as my so.
Yeah, same, man. Like I was 2 when I came here, so I don't even have an accent, you know? Like I was pretty embedded at a young age. And I always wonder like even can you think of what it would be like growing up and being a teen, and even for both of us like being exposed to metal or music, and how it might have been different for us being there, cuz it's not like it's got its own culture, but when you think of bands, like for me, it was like Korn. And for you, when you were a kid, how did you get exposed to your music tastes?
So I actually discovered all the music. You know, sometimes people have these stories of, you know, my mom or my dad played this record. So I don't have any of these stories because my family only listened to Russian pop music.
Well, I'm the same, man. It's all like Latin music.
Yeah, so I had to find everything myself, which I did. There used to be a wonderful channel by the name of Much Music,
Yeah.
and they used to play videos all the time.
Actual videos, yeah.
Yeah, and it was and that's how I got all my and the radio. Like 104.5 used to play heavy metal.
104. Is that
Chum FM.
Oh, okay, okay.
They used to play a little bit of everything. So how I got exposed to music is watching Much Music, you know, just being glued to the television. And you know, we were talking about earlier about sort of being immigrants.
Mm-hmm.
I watched a lot of television, and that's how I learned English.
Huh, wow. Yeah.
With that also came watching music videos.
Do you remember any one as a kid that really stood out that was like kind of, well, I guess mind-blowing for a kid?
Yes, I do. And if I tell you, you're going to laugh.
I can't even guess. Yeah, but go ahead.
Michael Jackson, Black or White.
Oh, wow. Okay. Is that the one where the faces are like morphing into each other?
In the end. Yeah, that's the epic, you know. I remember literally coming to Canada in 1991, and I think the video just came out, and I remember watching television. And I remember just being in awe, like, what is this?
Yeah.
I don't understand what he's saying, but this looks epic. I'm blown away. And again, I'm a child. I'm a child, but I just, you know, just dumbfounded.
Yeah.
And I will never forget. That was really my first really taste of Western culture.
Yeah,
Michael Jackson's.
And that's like a force, like that's a worldwide phenom sort of thing. I wonder. Well, I guess it probably would have been the same reaction if you were still in Russia and saw that video, right? Like it's just so out there. But growing up too, so you in Canada, you're watching Much Music, and like this is probably like when Loud was a thing, right?
Yes.
Now I was like, honestly, to prep for this, like I kind of read a little things, and I was reading your blog, and
my blog is very different than what I do with heavy metal. Let's get that straight. My blog, like, you know, I you know, it's a little different. Don't you agree?
Yeah, no, it is. It's great kind of insight to prep for something like this. But what it brings me to is your mother being, I think in the blog somewhere, like a conservative Russian mother. So was that ever an issue with metal and this sort of, because metal, like it seems so silly now, but metal is this like satanic, and even when I was a kid, that's what kind of drew me to it. It was like kind of naughty or, you know, whatever. But how was that for you growing up with your mom being conservative?
So, the first band that I really, really just fell in love with, had to get every CD, had to get every VHS, making the videos of, and obviously my family saw me go through this transition, was GNR. So my family was very taken back by how they looked like, because I had posters, I had everything you could think of related to GNR. And that's all I ever wanted for Christmas, everything GNR. So my mom was very supportive of it, because to her it was like, well, you like this band, you know. She goes, you know, I understand why they have long hair, but you know, if you're into it, you know. But you know, I didn't really explain to her the whole drug, sex, and rock and roll aspect of it, right?
Huh.
I just sort of really good music, mom. So
Huh.
my family has always been very supportive because they know me.
Hmm.
They know me as a person, and I think because there's that distinction, right? Like a lot of times you listen to music, maybe it is sort of labeled as satanic. Doesn't mean that you worship Satan.
Yeah, well, that's I think where a parent gets it wrong, because a parent might, yeah, it is either or. They'll be like, "This is the devil's music, and it's such a bad influence," and I get it, but that's cool. Like, because even I think being, because I kind of live the same sort of thing, not maybe to the same degree, but you're starting a whole new life, and there's things that come with it that you almost have to accept. Like, this is the culture here. I'm just trying to view it from your mom's perspective. Like, we are in Canada. This is the Western culture, so you can only fight it so much.
An interesting thing about Russian people, and I'm talking about people my mom's age, with the whole Cold War, they were not exposed to Western culture. So it's not even their fault when they saw all this in the 90s, all this, right, bombardment of Western culture, and they were all shocked. It's not even their fault. They never watched a horror movie in their life.
It's crazy, man.
Right?
Yeah.
It's crazy.
I know, it is so crazy because it's just the norm. It's TV with much music, and man, it must have been like. You ever ask your mom about that? Like, what was it like, Mom? Like, what were your feelings and how scary was it? It must have been crazy.
Well, the thing is that all the things they showed on Russian television were all happy things, right? Because that's how they sort of kept people in line. Everything's fine. Everything's great. So they used to play White Swan every evening.
Huh.
It's true. Before the news, they would play White Swan.
Just to keep things like all even keeled and like, huh?
Yeah. So again, it's like, again, when my mom came to Canada, it was like, what is all this? But I consider her a cool. So she's always been very supportive of everything I've ever. So.
That's cool, man. Well, that's great, and I think that helps when I know I can only speak from my perspective, but it helps when with metal music and stuff like that, if you're pursuing it, like we'll get into the whole promoting thing, but my parents were always the same, super supportive. They could have said, no, we started this new life for you to build a better life, but for them it was more a concern of them, of me being happy versus some sort of financial gain. Because really, like, man, we can totally talk about music and metal and money and all that shit, and like, you promote, and I'm 35, and I need to stop saying my age. Like, I'm not old, but I've been playing music for a while, and it's the reality of there's not a lot of money to be made on either end, the promoter, the band. But let's just kind of just jump into that. So with throwing shows, do you remember the first show you threw?
Yes, I do. I didn't know what I was doing.
What prompted you to do it? Was it a lack of shows, or?
So I was celebrating a milestone birthday. I will not tell you the number, but
Okay.
I was celebrating a milestone birthday,
Sure.
and I had a dream that for this birthday I would show. I thought I'll get bands, and it'll be my birthday party, and it'll be great, and all that. And that's the first ever.
I think I lost you here.
First ever. It was literally me or thinking I'll never ever do it again.
Hey, Karina, can you see me?
Yes, I could see you.
You know what? It's let me try something here. I didn't hear any of.
Hello.
Hey, okay, this will just work better.
Okay.
But sorry, yeah. So I had said, so you had a milestone birthday, and you had a dream, and then a cutout. So you had a dream.
So
the night of.
So no, not that I know, not that I have. So here's the thing. I was celebrating a milestone birthday. It was like I really wanted to have just a big party for me and my friends, and celebration of my birthday. And I thought it'd be cool if I got some bands to perform, and we could all have a good time and have a little concert. That was my first ever taste with organizing a show. I didn't know what I was doing. There was no name. There was no any. I really thought that I would never have to do it again. And that's how it really, really came about. That was the first time I really organized something of that sort.
Was it at a venue, and how many bands? It's a whole thing it's a big cookie to. Well, it's not.
Yes.
It's a big bite. It's like, did you chew off more? What's the saying? Bite off more than you could chew. Like, it's to throw a show is a big thing. You did, eh?
I did. I definitely. Well, here's the thing. I mean, I really, started prepping for it like 2 months before. Obviously, it was going to be on my birthday. It was at a venue no longer open. Big shocker, right?
Yeah.
It's called Izakaya. On
Izakaya.
college.
Never even heard of that
It used to be
place.
a sushi place, venue at the back. If you could just wrap your mind around that.
Okay. Okay.
So, I knew that place was available. I knew they didn't charge, right? Because when you're just throwing sort of like a party show, you can't really book anywhere where they charge, right? So I found it. I also knew it because I used to go to shows there prior. So I asked them, hey, is this date available? They said yes. And then I started sort of reaching out for bands and telling them, hey, I'm doing a birthday party. I'm not a promoter. Because that's the first thing they asked me. Are you a promoter? No. I'm just booking my own birthday party show. Would you like to play it? And that's really how it began.
Wow. And how did it go, the first one?
It went, I thought, very well. I mean, I wasn't looking at numbers in terms of like, how many people are attending, right? As a true promoter actually does. I just sort of invited my friends and asked them, hey, can you invite some friends, some of our mutual friends? And that was how it was. But I look back now, and I really didn't know what I was doing that particular show. Everything ran smoothly, but I mean, a gear thread, set times, those were all things that were very foreign to me at that time.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's I play music, and yeah, my first bunch of gigs, like simple as didn't bring enough sticks or something like that. You start from zero. You have to learn. You have to make mistakes to learn.
Oh,
for
of
sure.
course.
Huh, but it bit you enough that you wanted to do more, I guess.
Well, the thing with booking that particular, I'm going to say quotes show, because I didn't treat it as a show. I treated it as like a party, is that I didn't really have a lot of pressure. I thought, okay, well, it's just my birthday party that I'm planning. If something goes wrong, it's just me and my friends. And I also wasn't charging for it. It was just a celebration. So
yeah,
that actually worked. It was fun because there was no pressure. What could go wrong?
True.
I'm not charging anybody. It's just a party.
Yeah.
So what really kind of, at the end of it, I actually had a fellow promoter come up to me who I just knew through the scene. And he said, who helped you with this? And I said, nobody. And he said, well, you should maybe consider promoting. And that really is how it started.
Wow. Yeah. Well, like, I feel promoters are good promoters anyways are valuable because they don't have to do it. You know what I mean? As the person on the other end of it, like looking for people to throw shows, it's when it's done well, it's always like just like a huge thank you. So promoters, especially I think in Toronto, and I'm in Cambridge, so I'm not super embedded, but how many years have you been doing it now then?
So this past June, 4 years.
4 years. Okay. So do you feel like the learning curve has been slight, or was it quickly the first 5 shows you threw, you learned a lot quickly, or are you still learning how to streamline it?
I'm always learning how to be a better promoter. I'm always teaching myself other avenues how to get the reach out, right? Because every day it changes. Oh, there's this site now, posts shows that, you could get exposure that way. So I'm always learning. I'm always meeting people that I'm talking about my shows that they should go to. But I'm always learning because I still consider myself a new promoter. Some people sort of say, 4 years, but I still consider myself a new promoter. I still get excited when bands message me. It's like, I'm one of those, like, it still excites me. It still is all new to me. It's still like, so, but I will say I had to learn things really fast because you have a lot of people depending on you and they don't have time for you to not know what you're doing.
Yeah, especially you being the promoter, the person throwing it. Fuck, what's been like a hard lesson to learn? Did you ever have a band like, you owe me this much money, or like what's been a really hard but good lesson so far.
So I will say this: I am very serious about guarantees. The minute a band says to me, "This is what I need," I actually write it down. And in the 4 years that I have been promoting, I can honestly say that I've never had a problem with somebody saying, "You owe me this,
Cool.
you owe me this, and this is not what I'm getting." I take that very, very seriously, because you just need one bad experience to never have anyone book with you again.
Yeah, wow. Yeah, it's very true, man. And the funny thing is too that there have been promoters that kind of are known to fuck over bands, but being that you need a show on tour sometimes you end up working with like it's like fuck, I don't want this guy to do the show, but nobody else can do it, so
book it yourself. That's what I always say. That's what I always say to bands. There are times where I sometimes say to a band, "I can't do this date. I can't do this date. I'm out of time, whatever." And they're like, "Well, who should we go to?" And I always say, "You could do this."
do you say that to local dudes or touring guys?
I say that mainly to locals,
cats,
but sometimes I feel like, I will say this: when I first started promoting, I always said, "Well, I wonder how busy I'll be," because bands can really do that themselves. That's always been my philosophy. You could do this yourself, and that's why maybe I feel very grateful to be in the position I am. And I actually, anytime I get a show, I'm like, "Thank you," because honestly, you can do this yourself. That's the truth. I feel that way.
No, well, I do it now for my bands in Toronto. Like, I know Matt, so it's pretty easy for me to line up and I'll get him to have someone do the door. It's definitely easier if you're
Thank God
local.
for Matt Black.
Man,
God for Matt Black.
Matt
I always say that.
The best. Matt is the fucking best. Is this your full-time gig?
No, I actually have a full-time daytime job. So this is my I want to say hobby, passion, but obviously nowadays it's a lot more than that. So
how many shows are you doing, like monthly? 2 or 1?
I usually do 4 shows per month.
4? Wow, it's a lot, man.
I have this thing where I hate saying no to a show, because why would I say no? If it's a great show, I'm available that day, the venue's available, why not? This week in particular, I have 3 shows. I had one yesterday, I have one today, and then I have one on Friday.
Damn.
May, June was very busy for me. I had about like 2 shows every week. May, June. But that's it's busy. It's exciting. I love it.
Hey man, it's great you love it, because like shit, that's to me that sounds exhausting.
It is that too. Okay.
Well, shit, you love the work, I guess. Do you have a lot of people? So are you getting more and more bombarded, and how do you decide who to work with?
So I do have like a group of local bands that hit me up for their shows. There are certain, now as the years have gone by, I want to say, it sounds so weird to say I have a clientele, but you know what I mean by that.
Yeah,
I have a list of bands that when they roll through Toronto, not local ones, touring ones, they kind of contact me and say, "Hey, Karina, we're here again. Would love to work with you." Local bands as well. I have a number of bands that kind of like working with me and only me, and that's how that happens.
So it's just you have your stock of bands that you can work with, but you did say you are getting, because I feel like once the word gets out that there's a promoter who is reliable, it spreads like crazy. So are you getting like, is it mostly Canadian bands hitting you up, or do you feel like you're still under the radar where you're like, well, maybe, I don't know, this isn't like a massive podcast, but maybe people be like, "Hey, I need a show." It's not unmanageable?
I get everything. I get messages from people saying, "Listen, I'm starting a band. I'd love to open. I've never played a show. I'd love to open." And then I get messages. I actually just this past June, I hosted Wolfheart from Finland on their first ever Canada tour. And when I got that email asking if I would take on the show, I really didn't want to be unprofessional, but I wanted to reply with, "How did you find me?"
Yeah.
Because it was so crazy to me that I was being asked to do the show. And I was over the moon, but Wolfheart, it's not my first international band that I've booked, but it was a pretty big caliber show with,
Yeah.
actually a very well-known support. So I was like, okay, I guess, there's some talk that I book. I don't know.
Yeah, it does spread, man. Because I'm the guy who books for my band, and it's one guy tells 2 to 4, and then pretty soon everyone is like, "Hey, I need a show," and then those promoters quickly fade out because it's like, okay, I'm doing too many. It's great that you're still in, I would call, the honeymoon stage of throwing shows, and maybe you can sustain that, because again, it's important that people who care and aren't out to make a buck are throwing shows. Like the best promoters I've worked with are music lovers and music enthusiasts. It's it helps support each other. When you're doing like an international band, this is a thing that I'm always curious about, because in Europe you get housed, you get fed. You'll get that before you even get fucking paid. And in North America, that's totally not the case. Now, if you're hosting an international band, do you feel a responsibility to find them a place to sleep, or do they hit you up with that before, or what's your take on that? Because it's different over here. It's 100% different where it's not expected. Over there, it is expected. So I don't know. Have you dealt with a lot of international people being like, "Where's our food? Where's our place to sleep?"
Usually, such as was the case with Wolfhard, I got contacted by the tour manager who laid it out very simple. This is the guarantee. This is the amount for their meals, and if you can find them a place to stay, that'd be great. But that's not expected. So, obviously, when a band is touring, across seas, or it kind of goes without saying that if you can find them a place to stay, that'd be great. Kind of, like an unspoken rule. But I usually like to be very upfront, just say, what do you need me to do for this band? And it's usually, this is the guarantee. This is what we need for our meals. And if you can get them a place to stay. And then I go about doing that.
Yeah. It's best to be as clear. That's so funny, but because they know that over here you don't get a place to sleep. So it's funny that the booker would be like, if you can get them a place. It's really odd that it's not standard. It's kind of, I don't know why it is that way, because it's to throw a sandwich together, or to put, I get that it's like you don't know these people, but I don't know. What do you think about that? Why is it different?
I think that, we should always try to do as much as we can for a touring band, of course, right? They're kind of like, I like to use a metaphor, they're coming to your house.
Oh, 100%.
So it's, right? So they're kind of your responsibility. They came here for the show. And I have a lot of friends that live in downtown. So I'm lucky that I can sort of, ask one of them, hey, do you mind if the band stays at your place? I'll throw you a few bucks. And it's usually yes. Like some people love hosting bands.
Yeah.
So, but many times when I host an international band, they sometimes say, this is the guarantee. This is not including food. Not including food and lodging. But if you provide a place, then this is the guarantee.
Oh,
so
I see.
So, and that seems fair.
Yeah.
know?
Oh yeah. It's workable. It's not something unattainable. It's just always. I don't know. Maybe the times are shifting. Like I'm not touring as much as I used to. Maybe it's easier for younger bands to tour overseas because of Facebook, so maybe they're experiencing that and then they're returning it in Canada. And yeah, it's a thing that's always blown my mind. There was a band from France that one of my bands toured with, and I booked it, and I had to make it very clear, like it's not like I might not be able to get us a place to sleep every night. And it sucked to say that, but
yeah, it
is what it is, man. It's hopefully it's changing. I don't know. I guess with good promoters like you, it might start to shift the things. I don't know. I have a bunch of questions about just throwing shows. So when you're throwing a local show, how do you decide to split the door? Like percentage wise, or like, I don't know, there's a million ways to split it up. How do you normally find that you're doing it?
So it varies with every show. And I know this may sound really funny, but I like to have like a little group meeting after a show, and we kind of talk about it. I know that may sound funny, but I actually like sometimes be like, okay, this is what we made. Like I always say because it's kind of impossible to really be like, well, I brought in this
Oh
X
yeah.
amount of people.
Yeah.
So it's kind of impossible, and it's kind of also not fair. Do you know what I mean? It's not.
Totally.
So I like paying bands as equally proportionate as I can, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I do think a headliner should get paid a little more than an opener. I do think someone driving for 6 hours should get paid a little more than somebody who drove for 30 minutes. But again, we're all in this together, and I don't think it's fair if a band gets paid the 200, one gets paid $40, because I think that's like so disproportionate.
Yeah.
So but again, it varies with every show. It varies with every show, and I like getting feedback from bands. Like, what do you think? What do you think? Do you think, is it okay if we share? Sometimes I like to share everything down the middle for bands.
Yeah.
Everybody gets the exact amount.
Well,
and if anybody feels that they should get more, I get feedback. Like, well, we drove for 6 hours, Karina, and then I take that into account.
I think that's a great way to do it. A meeting with everybody. Like, listen, let's all just be clear with no need to be secretly paying each other. It's
because it all gets out in the end, right? So why do that?
Yeah, very true. Very true. Now, go ahead.
And I was just gonna say, and that way there's no. I always feel so good when a show is done, because it's like, yeah, I got through this one. I never want a band to leave feeling unappreciated or with some kind of like a sour feeling. So it's like, let's talk about it. This is what we made. Tell me, let's talk about it.
It sounds like you kind of understand the value of musicians, and this is a question I have. Like, it's hard to put a value onto art. I talk about this sometimes too. It's relative to whoever's kind of taking it in, but like, why do you think shows and musicians are so undervalued? Like, people mock or scoff at a fucking $10 cover. It's weird.
I think because sometimes, and not all, musicians undervalue themselves. And then that spreads like wildfire. Musicians sometimes, I don't gotta get paid, it's fine. And then that becomes the norm, when that's not the norm, and that's not how the norm should be. So I think, you know what? Do you get what I'm saying? Like,
oh no,
in a way,
100%. Yeah. I feel like when a new band or a young band comes out, they're just happy to play. But it might. That's a kind of a bad habit, because it might bleed. Like, at one point, will a band say, "No, we're actually worth something"? And I can speak personally where I knew that on tour we needed money, but I'd be a little more meek. Like, nowadays, like, I know my value, and I know I don't feel bad asking for X amount of money.
Of course.
Yeah, it's I feel like, but again, it's like getting in and trying to get a show. It's just, you're like, just every fucking band's trying to get a show. There's like one promoter to a 1,000 bands. So I get it, and it bleeds into to the people going to the show, where it's I don't know, it's they don't appreciate everything that goes into it, which is weird to say, because a lot of the people who go to shows are in bands, but maybe I feel like there's tiers to it. Like, you can be a jam hall band, and then you can be a band that's doing shows, and then you can be like a touring band. And if you're a touring band, then it's 100% you know the value of it, because you fucking work and you buy your gear and you lose all this money. There's so much to getting to the show, unloading, loading, setting up, all that shit. And you see that obviously because you're there throwing the shows. How do we fucking change that? How do we get people to value it more?
So I don't know if you ever saw this thing I posted on Facebook once. I had it up on one of my shows once, and it was like titled "Do Not Ask for Guest List."
I was gonna ask about that. Yeah, I saw that.
And I gave a thing about gear costs money, jam spaces cost money, gas costs money. Oh
yeah.
So it's very expensive to be a musician, and I don't think any of us are planning to be rich from this, but I think that just making something just to show for all the work you've put in, I don't think that's a lot to ask.
No, It's such a crazy thing because I know that I was that kid that was just so happy to play and was like,
Yeah.
$10 is fine, but fuck. Maybe, I don't know. I guess like even if the promoter's like, listen, man, like you gotta ask for something, or you have to. I don't know.
It's really funny because we talk about right now, we're talking about the bands that sort of are like, listen, I just want to play, I love what I do, and sometimes these are the people that pack a room. And then you have the people that don't pack a room, actually can't even get 5-10 people, and they're actually sometimes the first with a guarantee. So
Yeah, well, shit.
I see it all. So
Yeah. It's a shame that it's not worth more, because it's like in a I feel like the movies are kind of the same way. It's such an old art form, a performance, and especially when people take it serious. Like there's some bands that I see that it's just like, how am I so lucky to see this? Like these guys are like literally putting on a show, but just this is like next level performing. Like that shit is so valuable. And you know, $15 to see something like that, that's fucking cheap.
That's nothing.
But that's not every band, I guess.
People spend $200 at the bar. Why are they complaining about $50?
Yeah.
I mean, and usually most of my shows are $10. That's usually. I mean, tonight's show is 4 bands. One of them came from Mexico, Los
Sick.
Nebula. I'm charging $10. I think that's normal for a weekday show. But but if I charge 15, I feel like that would also be fair because you're seeing 4 bands, 4 live bands. I mean, I don't know. I mean, of course we have to kind of blame it on the internet, but it's not the internet's fault. But a lot of people are staying in. They're downloading. They're watching YouTube, and they're pretending they're at the show. And why would they go pay the $10? I'm in my room. I don't got to talk to anyone. I'm watching the show.
Yeah. Well, it's a kind of a good point about the internet. And I kind of think that ties into even technology, how it's made it a lot easier for people to make music, be it, dance music or maybe even like metal music in your room or something. And maybe right now there's I don't know if there's if there's more bands or less bands, if this market, quote unquote, is saturated, and if people just are overwhelmed with access to music, that a live show is something they don't. And maybe there's not like that many great bands that are blowing people's minds. I don't know, man. Like I dip my toe. I play a show, I kind of duck out, or I'll do a small little run of shows, and I don't know. It's kind of fascinating to think about the state of live music and the state of aggressive music to the on the end of a consumer.
Well, I don't really feel bad because when you have bands like Anthrax and Slayer and they can't pack venues anymore, then what do I have to feel bad about, or local bands have to feel bad about? That's the reality. Bands, nobody's drawing like they used to. Nobody. That's why you have all these like crazy massive bills. Like in May at Budweiser stage, you had Slayer, Anthrax. It was like this crazy fantasy lineup. That's and that was packed, but it was also people need more now. People want more now.
I guess shit, people are maybe too spoiled. With touring bands, like the Mexican band, what's your take on a headlining slot? Does it have to be the touring band? Because I hate when I'm on tour and I'm a headliner, because the reality of it is that I'm in a metal band, an underground metal band. We're not a huge metal band. So I appreciate the kind of sentiment, like you guys are the big band, but I find like, what do you think is the best slot of a show? Second, headlining, first, third?
So tonight, Los Nebula is co-headliner. They're in the middle. Well, obviously they can't open. That goes without saying. I also don't feel comfortable putting them as second opener. Okay. So being in the middle, I think, is sort of like the best place for them because they get the draw of the first 2 bands, right? Which are local. So people come. They're not playing too late because it's also a weekday. And then, they're sort of sandwiched in the middle, and I sort of, get the draw from all the other three bands, because that's how I always view it. Like, if they're a new band, we need to help them with the draw. So they're gonna to be seen. We're gonna give them all the draw from the other three bands,
Man,
so that we're putting them in the middle.
that is perfect. Is that from advice from people, or is that something you saw on your own behalf? Like, I should put this band here and this there. Because really, man, you'd be surprised. Well, maybe you wouldn't be, but fuck, man, if I'm on tour, it's like headlining, and I have to be like, hey, don't put us last, man. Like, that's not a good slot. Did you come to that conclusion on your own, or was that like, how did you? Because not a lot of people know that, man, which is crazy.
It seems logical. That's the thing.
I know.
It seems kind of logical, but also I've learned from mistakes. I think the best slot on a show is second last, and a lot of bands I think would agree with me. People don't want to stay at a show till 2 a.m. anymore. Those days, in my opinion, a lot of people would disagree with me, are gone. People want to come. People want to come at 8 o'clock, and they want to leave at 11:30. And that's not me talking. That's just me looking at crowds. I've had headliners that, were running late. They go on at 12:40, and I know it's a big headliner. I know people are here to see it. Half of the room is gone because people are not staying out as late as they used to be. So I have to keep that in mind. And again, as a promoter, it's my job to look at what happens at a show and to learn from it. That's my job. It's not my job to say I'm right and this is what we're doing. It's my job to look at what people, the habits of people coming to my show, and using that information to do better shows.
Man, it's I feel like, did you ever play in a band? Because I learn a lot of my lessons from playing music, and it's really insane how a lot of promoters don't know what's up. Did you play in a band before?
So I'm one of those people that has never been in a band or can play an instrument. I live vicariously through the bands. Okay.
Hey,
I'm
man.
one of those, I'm like a lot of industry people that lives vicariously because, I've never been in a band. Here's the reality. All my friends growing up were musicians. So I heard so much information that I took in that now is valuable to me. So again, I was surrounded by musicians growing up and till this day. So that's like my education, people who lived through it. And I heard all the horror stories. I heard the horror stories about the tour before I was even a promoter. And I always said, if I ever get to, these are my do not do's.
There you go. That's perfect, man.
So.
Fuck. Do you feel a responsibility to, like, being a woman? Do you feel a responsibility to have shows that are, like, inclusive? Because it's kind of a thing where I feel like the tides are kind of changing, but let's just say women are kind of, I feel, misrepresented in the metal scene. I really feel like that is changing, but do you feel a responsibility? Like, do you see it being a woman? Like, oh, I wish there were more women in bands at shows, or, what's your take on that?
So I have sort of like a theme night where I call it Queens of Metal, and it's all female fronted bands. So I do feel, I do feel a certain level of responsibility to showcase female fronted bands. However, it's not like of number one priority to me. My number one priority is to book good music. And who's behind the microphone is who's behind the microphone. But like I said, I do a theme called Queens of Metal where it is only female fronted bands. And in order to be part of that night, you have to be a female. But so, and that's just something that I really wanted to do because I think it's important to just have a night that we focus on that. But I don't make it my main thing. I just want to book good music. So whatever your gender is, if you book good music, I want to book you.
Yeah. Do you like, I feel like it is becoming, at least in my circles, I'm seeing more and more inclusivity, which is really great. Like, there's some fucking really great bands that I'm trying to think, like Lilum or who else is there? There's a band Low Dose from Philly. Like, there's these fucking amazing bands that it's really cool that you are getting opportunities that we all fucking got. It's I'm optimistic that things are shifting for sure, which is great, man. I'm the same thing. I'm into good music. I don't really care who's in the band as long as it's good and people are getting the chances to show that I'm a great musician. I have talent, and for real, I've been exposed to a ton of fucking good shit.
Yeah, absolutely. And then Toronto, actually, the Toronto heavy metal scene has always been very supportive. Even before I was booking shows, I used to go to a lot of shows, and they were female fronted, and there was always a big crowd. So I don't know. I think our scene really supports kind of everybody.
I feel it too. I feel my friends in the circles that I'm in are good people. It's a bummer when I hear these kind of horror stories and all these the others, because like my worldview is small. Like my friends that I see at all my shows, it's kind of the same little world. So I know there's another world of scenes within scenes, but I'm pretty proud to be part of the one that I'm in for sure.
Yeah, likewise.
When just running through my things. Yeah, what's your take on drink tickets? Should bands get them or no? Or depends on the show?
If they're available, I feel like, I mean, Coalition is great. They always give me beer tickets, but I will say I've had many venues that say no beer tickets. I mean, it's a plus. Of course, it feels good to give bands beer tickets, but I will say this: that's sort of now kind of like decreasing because I have another venue that I book, and I noticed recently, their policy is sort of like, drink tickets only on the weekend. I get it. I mean, they have to make an X amount of bar sales, but should bands get beer tickets? Yes, they should. They should. Of course they should.
I think so too.
But I understand if a bar says, listen, we have to make I mean, if a bar doesn't charge you, because you know how it works now. If your show doesn't, I mean, some places, if your show doesn't meet X amount of dollars, you have to pay the bar the difference.
Really?
Some venues do that. Yeah, I've experienced that. Not Coalition, like not my regular venues, but in the past, I've booked bars where they said, Karina, we didn't make X amount. You owe us this money. This is actually the policy to book here. So I understand why they can't give beer tickets, because they have to make a certain minimum as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But I wish I could give beer tickets at all my shows. I do, but I also understand the bar, and they have to make a certain amount, and I understand everyone involved.
Well, it's a business too, it's the entertainment industry. There's a lot of facets to that, and even talking to Matt about Coalition and kind of some overhead costs, and like, fuck it really must be a struggle. I get it. I'm stoked if we get drink tickets. If we don't get them, it's not a big deal. It only bums me when there's a shit ton of people, and I know they're selling crazy beer, and I guess maybe they didn't know that, but that'll kind of burn my ass. Now, do you think bands should tip if they have a drink ticket?
It'd be nice, but I mean, I think it's nice. Of course, to always tip your bartender, but right, always tip your bartender. But I mean, you're also instrumental in bringing all these people in as well. Yeah. So, but of course, you should tip your bartender always.
Yeah, if I can, I will. If I can't, I do feel guilty. I'm kind of like, oh.
If you can't, take comfort in that you're helping with bar sales as a musician. Bringing people in, because we're all in this together, kind of thing. That's how I always see a show. Like our main focus for everybody: get bodies in the room. The bar does well, we do well, everybody's happy.
Yeah, 100%. What do you think's too long of a set for a relatively unknown band?
Well, I will answer the same question with known and unknown. I've had bands that have wanted to play for an hour and a half, and I've had to explain to them about the culture of attention spans. Okay. So people want things now quick. They want to see bands play 35 minutes, one after another. That's really what I think people want. Of course, if we're talking about really big bands, I think 40 minutes is ideal. Anything over 45 minutes. I've been at shows seeing really big bands. I mean, I'll name you one, Opeth. Okay. So I remember an Opeth show that literally was like, 2 hours. And I remember thinking to myself, yes, I get it. It's Opeth, but I'm done.
Man, I hear you,
I'm done. I want, there's also, you should always leave the audience with still some taste of like one more,
Yeah,
one
yeah,
more.
totally.
That's what I love to see.
Yeah.
I love to see a crowd that's just like, please play one more song, please. And then they do, and then the crowd still wants more, but it's like, okay, we played our set.
Yeah.
That's how you get an audience.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
I've seen bands that I like. I'm like, this is great, and then they play too long, and then I'm like, I don't like this band anymore. I was gonna be
you're
a
just
fan.
like,
now I'm out.
Yeah. It's like a girlfriend that moved in with you too early.
Quick.
Okay? It's like things are going so great. You know, it's like I was missing you, but now I see you every day.
There you
and
go.
it's like it's not the same. I'm sorry if that was a weird metaphor, but it
No,
makes
I
sense
get
in
it,
my
man.
head.
I get it, man. I get it 100%. I'm just going through all my questions. I try to keep this as streamlined as I can, but sometimes I lose where I'm at. But so I guess I'll ask this because you're talking about Opeth. What, being that you've throw shows and you've been to shows, what's your fucking favorite show you've ever seen? So much, like, I guess throwing it or not doesn't matter.
Yeah. So I grew up loving a lot of different bands. So I was a music fanatic when I was growing up. A lot of people who know me, like grew up with me as a teenager, are actually not surprised. Like I got into promoting. They're like, yeah, of course, you were always with your CD player, Karina. So there's one show that comes to mind that I just, like, I cried. I never cry at shows, by the way. Like, I'm not one of those people that's like crying, but this really, really affected me. I'm a big Hole fan.
Okay,
don't judge me.
Hey, no judging, man.
And July 2011 or 2010, she was playing Sound Academy.
Okay.
It was Hole, but it was her and obviously like a different band, but she was playing all Hole. And I was in the front row, and just, you know, I really liked Courtney Love when I was growing up. And I mean, I'm still a really big fan. And when I saw her first close up and she just singing songs that I loved listening to as a teenager, I started crying.
That's crazy, man. Yeah.
And she also did a slow rendition of Nine Inch Nails' I Wanna Beep You Like an Animal.
You can swear. It's all good.
Right?
What is that song called? Is that what it's called? I know which song it is, but whatever. Yeah.
You know what song?
Yeah.
So, but she did a slow version of that, and it was literally like amazing. Everyone in the room was like, oh, it was just so unique. And so I would say that's one of the most, you know, I mean, I have so many memorable concert memories. I was a huge GNR fan growing up. In 2002, they played Air Canada Center, and Axl Rose came out in a Toronto Maple Leafs jersey. That was wild. That was with his dreads, of course, with his dreads.
Yeah.
But I mean, I remember he came out, you know, welcome to the jungle, and he was in a Toronto Maple Leafs jersey,
Crazy.
you know, and I remember just going crazy about that. And there's also been a lot of my shows, you know, Wolfheart this past June blew everyone away, including me. So, you know, but I love live music. Like it's so exciting to me that I've had many experiences where it's just like, this is so cool.
Oh man. I wonder, because you said you never like played in bands. Our experience in consuming like a live show must be different. I wonder if being in a band takes away from that, because I said this before, where like music is a language, right? And people are more proficient at it than others. But to someone who, and this isn't to be diminishing at all, I don't want this to sound bad at all, but to like someone who isn't a musician, the experience of consuming a live show must be well, I don't know, I feel like it needs to be more special. Maybe. I mean, I've also have a lot of musician friends that are also very critical when they go to shows. Like, I could do that. Yeah,
Why he's only playing 6 strings? Come on, you know.
Yeah.
So I'm fascinated by something that I can't do myself. Maybe that's why I'm like, oh my god, live music. I don't know how to play guitar, so to me, that somebody can do, you know, that thing is like, oh my god.
Well, it's like, I don't know. I'm kind of in a way envious of that, because I know exactly what you're saying when I'll be seeing a band and I might be analyzing too much versus just listening and taking it in. Like I almost get in my own way to enjoy the live set, just maybe because I've seen too many shows or I like the drummer too much. I'm not focusing on the whole song. It's different experiences, I think, for sure. Yours and mine, or anyone who's on either side of that sort of fence. I don't know. I guess I'll never know. I can't live your life. I'll never like know what it's like to like watch your favorite band on your end. But whatever. I'm kind of off on a tangent here. The just the blog itself. Again, I was just trying to prep for this, and it kind of seems like it's slowed down. Maybe you're getting busier and busier, but it's a creative outlet for sure. Like it's writing. You're writing your thoughts down. Now that it seems like it's kind of slowed down, do you feel like pent up stuff that you need to get out? Like where else do you get to express yourself?
So I've been writing sort of like since I was a child, and I've always just sort of written. And a couple of years ago, I just thought, hey, why don't I just do my own sort of blog? And if nobody reads it, nobody reads it. It'll just be like kind of for me. And that's how that came about. I've written and said a lot of things that I've wanted to, because I started this blog about, I don't know how many years ago, 5 years ago. So I've said and written on a lot of themes that I've wanted to. So maybe that's why it slowed down a little bit. But also, obviously, when I started promoting, I wasn't writing as much.
But Jesus, busy. Yeah. Do you miss it? Do you want to do more of it, or do you feel content? Like it's a way to vent. Like I feel with music, it's the super raw way to get emotions out there through musical notes. So you're doing the same. You're writing. It's creative process. But do you feel like you could benefit from more of that, or I don't know? Like you're a creative person. Clearly, you're throwing shows, organizing things, writing things. So, do you need to do more of it, or I don't know?
So I still write every day. I have a journal that I can't part with, and I still write, but I just don't always share it anymore. But I still write. I have to write. It's actually not even a choice. I have to write to be sane. And it's so funny. Anytime anybody's having a bad day, I'm like, oh, have you tried writing? They're like, why would I write? I'm like, oh, because that's the answer. So that's the answer to everything. Just write. But I don't know. I've also, as I get older, I become a little more private. When you're young, yes, this is who I am. As I get older, I'm a little more private. So maybe I don't want to write my deepest online. I mean, I still do, because if you read my last blog post, it was pretty revealing.
Pretty personal, yeah.
Yeah, and but I don't know. I just do whatever feels natural to me. Oh, I wrote this. I think people would like to read it online. Let me get this up. That's pretty much it's just how I feel. I don't try to be hard on myself. When I first started promoting, it was like, okay, I have to do X amount of shows, or when I started the blog, I have to update it X amount of time. How I feel is what I will produce. And whatever time will allow me is what will be produced. And and that makes it fun. It makes it fun. And and my blog is also not run by anybody. It's just on a personal blogspot.ca, very simple. So I don't have to answer to anyone. I just write whatever I want, whenever I want. So it makes it easy.
I think it's a healthy thing to do, man, to write down your thoughts. Like even
for sure.
I don't know if you're a lyricist, that's a version of it. But even like just in prepping for this again, saw that and I thought to myself, like, man, like not that I would really do a blog, but I guess I kind of get my thoughts out through this podcast, but I could maybe benefit from more of that, more just like, because obviously I'm not going to fucking like talk way too personally on this. Although I do, I have certain episodes with my good friend Muskie and we it didn't air, but we did one where we, there's like tears in the episode. We got really deep. But maybe I should start writing. But that's kind of, I guess, what I'm telling myself here. I should start doing the same thing that you did.
But again, I've sort of written my whole life, and I'm sure you write, and it's something that you just do. You don't really think about it. I'm gonna write now, right? I don't ever have that like sort of feeling. I just like, oh, I got to write something. I got to express something. And that's just how I've always been. So I can't imagine not being that way.
Yeah. Well, shit, man, that's kind of, I think, the same as a musician. Like, if I can't, I can't picture myself not playing. Like, I would fucking go crazy. So I guess same with you. If you couldn't write, you might go a little crazy too.
Yeah, and that has been proven. So if I don't write, I go a little crazy.
So yeah, if you're all squirrely, people be like, "Hey, get her a pen. She needs to write something."
Yeah. Oh yeah. Totally. Have you written today, Karina? No. Please write.
I guess last kind of question here, because like I do these about an hour, and then we'll play something. But I really kind of, I think my last question would be like, you're kind of new, but not new. You know, you're not new to the game. I guess as long as you're having fun, you'll still do this, or do you have like a plan, or I don't know, like, because it's a lot of work.
As long as people will want me to put on shows and contact me and say, Karina, help me with this show, I will do it.
Cool.
I always laugh and like tell people at Coalition, like, I'm gonna come here one day with a baby stroller and work doors with like a baby stroller. I always see myself doing shows, maybe not as much, but as long as people will contact me and ask me to be a part of their show, I want to do it because it is exciting. It is like, and also it teaches you so many other things about life because you deal with people. There's a lot of lessons I learned in promoting I would have never learned had I not been a promoter.
100%, man. It's a whole other world, dealing with people who are being vulnerable in their art. And actually there's some real I think about that applies the same, like playing. You have a lot of life lessons that bleed out into my normal life, and I'm sure with you too.
Yeah, one of the biggest ones is like show must always go on. Like I know for me, whatever is happening in my personal life, the minute I get the sound check, that's done. That doesn't exist. I have to be there for the bands. I have to be there for the people attending, and that's been a really great life lesson. Like you got to work, you got to stay focused, and I like that because I didn't have a choice. You know,
sorry, my kid's going crazy.
That's okay. That's okay. Get her a pen and paper.
Yeah, no, geez, what's going on, honey? Is he good? Sorry, holy cow, he's usually a pretty chill little guy.
Hashtag dad life. Hashtag dad life. Right?
Totally, man. Sorry.
Yeah, no, that's okay. Don't apologize. But that's something I really learned with promoting, that, you know what, whatever's going on in your personal life, you show up to the show and you be there for the bands. And that has been a lesson for me also in other aspects of my life. Whatever is going on doesn't mean that other aspects can't be enjoyed. And I really got to stay focused, and people are depending on me. Whenever I think, I sometimes have been accused of taking promoting too seriously. And I always say, but people are counting on me. That's what I say. But people are counting on me. So this isn't about me. People are counting on me. So I have to be there for them.
Man, well, shit, on my end of it, I can speak for other bands that we appreciate someone like you who cares and doesn't have to do it, but does it. And yeah, I was excited those are all my questions. I was excited to talk to you about that stuff because it's another tangent off of the same thing. We love music. We love metal or whatever, and it's easy. It's easy to talk about this type of shit with someone who speaks that language. But dude, I do these about this long, and then I do the Hibzine, which is just I play some music that be it if it's a band, their music, or something that you would want to play. I wrote down, what is it, Wolfheart? We could play some of them, or I don't know. What if I were to play any band, any song right now? Maybe it's a band recently that you threw a show for, or I'm kind of putting you on the spot, but what do you think? What should we play?
Can I be really cliche?
Sure.
Can we play Ace of Spades?
Sure. Let's do it.
I just love that song. It always just makes me happy. But Ace of Spades by Motorhead. One of the greatest bands ever.
Yeah, I never got to see them, but my buddy met Lemmy once in LA, and yeah, fuck off, dude. For the first maybe couple of years of doing this podcast, it was literally just that, like, yeah, let's play whatever. And then I kind of realized, like, shit, if I'm talking to a band about their new album, I should probably play the new album. But yeah, dude, playing Ace of Spades is no big deal.
Can I get 2 requests, or I can only get 1?
Let's do 1. Well,
okay, can I change my mind? I want to play a local band, if possible.
okay, let's do that.
They're on Bandcamp. Is that okay?
That's 100%. Yeah.
Black Absinthe, really great friends of mine from Toronto. I book them all the time. They have a great song called Into the Wild. I love that song, and I think, listeners would love it too.
Cool. Like shit. Yeah, let's do that. It's very cool to also, we'll expose some listeners to some new music. I'll edit it after the fact. But what is it called? Black Absinthe, the band?
Black Absinthe.
And the song's called Into the Wild. Okay. So this is Into the Wild by Black Absinthe. Man, that's it, Karina, man. How do people get a hold of you if they're looking for shows?
So hit me up on my Neurotic Entertainment's Facebook page. I check my inbox almost daily. Send me a message, email. neuroticentertainment@yahoo.com, or better yet, come see me at one of my shows and talk to me. Whenever a band asks me like, "Oh, will you like, book me or whatever?" I'll say, "Oh, come to one of my shows and chat with me in person." That's always like, I'm old school like that. Come see me. Let's talk. Let's kind of feel each other out in terms of vibes,
For
and
sure.
that's the best way to really see
Cool.
if you can work with somebody.
Hell yeah, man. Well, thank you, Karina. It's been great.
Thank you so much.
Yeah,
It's been so much fun.
Hell yeah. I'm sure I'll run into you at some point. We'll have a beer and we'll make the DJ listen to or play Ace of Spades because I didn't play it this time.
Yes, because they don't play it enough at clubs. You know that?
No.
That song never gets played. Thank you so much.
Thanks,
Thank
man.
you.
Yeah, I'll talk to you later.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right, peace. All right, cool. That was it. That's 231 with Karina. That was rad. Yeah, shit. Like, it's cool to constantly get new little sort of bubbles popping on my bubble of people that are enthused about this type of shit. So let me close this off, guys. This is Taker Wide. If you guys can go to takerwide.com and sign up for the newsletter, that'd be tight. I'm sending out the episodes with extra goodies, and you'll get some exclusive deals from the sponsors, which is cool of them to do. If you haven't ordered a shirt yet, I still have those. Just takerwide.com, click on merch, or go to takerwide.bigcartel.com. You can see the shirts there. Shawnee from Sabatini from Montreal at DFA Tattoos, he designed it. Ironclad Graphics printed it. So it's a good way to show love. The Instagram page is Taker Wide Podcast. I'm posting new episodes, old episodes. What else? Twitter's there. It's Taker Wide Pod. I'm on Spotify. I don't know how you guys are listening to this, but Spotify has me. Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, YouTube. Probably a few more too, but let me just close this off here. HeartbeatHotSauce.com for the hot sauce. Taker Wide 5, save 5%. DFA Tattoos out in Montreal, 328 St. Catherine Est. Go get tatted up by the talented crew there. DFAtattoos.com. Kevin Regal of Hefner Toyota out in Kitchener. Find him on Facebook. Mention the show. Get special pricing on new vehicles. Did I do the address? 3121 King Street East in Kitchener. Ironclad Graphics for silk screening. They have been in the game for like 15 years, I feel, or if not longer. From Kingston, but they ship coast to coast, competitive pricing, koozies, shirts, fucking everything. They got it on lock, I guess. DapperBeardOil.com. Use the promo code TakerWide. Free ship for free shipping on that amazing beard oil. Support small business. Wellington Brewery for the beers. Dave Levitt Photography for the love and the high fives and the, I don't know, for just being the fucking raddest guy ever. This is Taker Wide. Hopefully I didn't forget anything. Love you guys, and I will see you around. All right? Peace.